Most younger men think attraction is all about looks, confidence, or saying the right thing. But then they meet an older guy who isn't trying nearly as hard. And somehow women still feel safer around him, more relaxed with him, more emotionally connected to him. Why? Because attraction changes when emotional intelligence enters the room. Let's be real. A lot of younger men are taught to chase validation, impress women, dominate conversations, or play weird dating games they learned online. Meanwhile, many older men understand something deeper. Women don't just respond to attention, they respond to how you make them feel. And that changes everything. Most people don't talk about this, but one of the biggest differences between younger men and emotionally mature older men is this. Older men often stop trying to win women and start trying to understand them. That's what we're talking about today. Not manipulation, not alpha male nonsense, not outdated gender stereotypes. We're talking about emotional maturity, communication, respect, confidence, boundaries, and why those qualities often create stronger attraction than looks ever could. Because here's the truth. A woman can feel when a man sees her as a human being instead of a challenge. And trust me, that energy matters more than most guys realize. So let's get into it. One thing older men often understand better is that women are constantly reading emotional safety. Not just physical safety, emotional safety. Can she express herself around you without being mocked? Can she say no without you getting angry? Can she disagree with you without it turning into an ego battle? A lot of younger men unknowingly create pressure during dating because they're so focused on outcomes. They want reassurance. They want fast intimacy. They want constant texting. They want proof she likes them. And honestly, that pressure can feel exhausting. Older men who've developed emotional intelligence usually understand patience better. They don't panic over delayed replies. They don't obsess over every little signal. They're less likely to treat dating like a competition. That calmness can feel incredibly attractive because it creates space. And space is important. A woman who feels emotionally safe is more likely to open up naturally. Now, obviously, age alone doesn't magically make someone mature. There are plenty of immature older men too, but life experience can teach some powerful lessons, like understanding that attraction isn't built through control, it's built through consistency. Here's another thing many emotionally mature men understand. Listening is seductive. Seriously. Not performative listening. Not waiting for your turn to talk. Not pretending to care because you want something later. Actual listening. Most people don't talk about how rare that is now. We live in a hyper-distracted world. Everyone's scrolling, everyone's multitasking, everyone's half present. So when someone gives genuine attention, eye contact, curiosity, emotional presence, it stands out. A younger guy might hear a woman talking about stress and immediately try to fix everything. An emotionally mature man often understands that sometimes she doesn't need solutions. She wants understanding. That difference matters more than people think. And this connects to another huge point. Older men often understand boundaries better. Not just sexual boundaries. Emotional boundaries too. They understand that consent is ongoing, that attraction can change, that nobody owes anyone affection because of attention, money, or effort. And honestly, that mindset creates trust. A lot of younger men grew up consuming dating content that treats women like puzzles to solve. Say this, text this, use psychology tricks. But women are not algorithms, they're people. And emotionally healthy relationships aren't built on manipulation. They're built on honesty, communication, and mutual respect. Here's the truth. Confidence without empathy becomes arrogance, but confidence with emotional awareness, that's powerful. Now let's talk about communication for a second, because this is where a lot of modern dating falls apart. Younger men are often told they need to appear emotionally detached to seem attractive. Don't text too fast. Don't show feelings. Act unavailable. And yes, mystery can create intrigue sometimes. But emotional unavailability is not maturity. A lot of women are tired of trying to decode mixed signals. Older, emotionally mature men often understand that direct communication is actually attractive. Saying, I enjoy spending time with you. I'm looking for something genuine. I'm not emotionally available right now. That honesty saves everyone time and emotional confusion. And honestly, clarity is underrated. Most people don't realize how emotionally draining modern dating has become. Ghosting, breadcrumbing, validation loops on social media. People treating dating apps like shopping catalogs. It creates anxiety. So when someone communicates clearly and respectfully, it immediately feels different. Now let's talk about self-worth, because this is another major difference. A lot of younger men tie their identity to whether women approve of them. If a woman loses interest, they spiral. If they get rejected, they take it personally. If they're ignored online, their confidence collapses. But emotionally mature men often understand this. Rejection is information, not humiliation. That changes your entire energy. Because desperation pushes people away. Self-respect attracts healthier connections. And women notice when a man's confidence comes from internal stability instead of external validation. That doesn't mean being cold or emotionless. It means your entire identity isn't dependent on attention. Now, here's something people really avoid talking about. A lot of women are emotionally exhausted from carrying conversations, emotional labor, and relationship responsibility. They're tired of teaching basic empathy, tired of managing fragile egos, tired of feeling unheard. So when they meet someone emotionally grounded, someone who can communicate, apologize, stay calm during conflict, and respect boundaries, it feels refreshing. Not because the bar should be low, but because emotional maturity is genuinely rare. And conflict is where this becomes obvious. A younger man might see disagreement as rejection. An emotionally mature man understands disagreement is normal. He doesn't immediately shut down, insult, manipulate, or disappear. He listens. He responds instead of reacting. He stays emotionally regulated. That creates emotional security. And emotional security is deeply attractive. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine a couple out at dinner. The woman mentions something that upset her earlier in the week. One guy immediately gets defensive. What? So now I'm the bad guy? Now the conversation becomes about his ego instead of her feelings. But another man responds differently. I didn't realize that affected you that way. Tell me more. Notice the difference? One response escalates tension. The other creates connection. That's emotional intelligence in action. And honestly, this applies to intimacy too. Older, emotionally mature men often understand that intimacy is not performance. It's connection. They understand communication during intimacy matters. Comfort matters. Consent matters. Emotional trust matters. A lot of younger people grow up learning about sex through unrealistic online content instead of healthy conversations. And that creates confusion. Real intimacy isn't about impressing someone. It's about mutual respect, presence, communication, and shared comfort. That's why emotional intelligence often creates better relationships than pure physical attraction ever could. Now let's talk about online behavior, because modern dating is happening through screens more than ever. One thing emotionally mature men understand is that digital behavior reveals character. How you text matters. How you react to boundaries matters. How you behave after rejection matters. Sending angry messages because someone lost interest? Huge red flag. Constantly demanding attention? Exhausting. Trying to guilt someone into replying? Not attractive. Older, emotionally mature men often understand restraint. Not everything requires a reaction. Not every emotion needs immediate validation. That emotional control creates stability, and stability feels safe. Here's another truth younger men often miss. Women are not looking for perfection. They're looking for emotional consistency. Someone whose words match their actions. Someone who respects boundaries even when frustrated. Someone who communicates honestly instead of playing games. That matters more than flashy confidence. And honestly, a lot of attraction comes down to emotional atmosphere. How does someone feel after spending time with you? Drained? Anxious? Pressured? Or understood, respected, relaxed, and emotionally safe? That emotional experience shapes attraction more than people realize. Now, before we finish, I want to make something very clear. This isn't about saying older men are automatically better. Age does not guarantee wisdom. Some people grow older without growing emotionally at all. But the qualities many women appreciate, emotional intelligence, calmness, communication skills, patience, self-awareness, often develop through experience, reflection, and accountability. And younger men can absolutely develop these qualities too. In fact, learning them early gives you a massive advantage in relationships and life. So if you're watching this wondering what actually makes someone attractive long-term, start here. Learn how to listen without ego. Respect boundaries without resentment. Communicate clearly. Stop treating dating like a performance. Build confidence that doesn't depend on validation. And understand that emotional maturity is not weakness. It's strength with self-awareness. Because here's the truth. The men who leave the strongest impression are usually not the loudest men in the room. They're the ones who make people feel respected, understood, and emotionally safe. And in modern dating, the energy stands out more than ever. If this video connected with you, drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think younger men misunderstand most about women in relationships today? And if you want more honest conversations about attraction, emotional intelligence, modern dating, and sexual psychology, subscribe and stick around. Because most people don't talk about this stuff honestly. but we do here.